I'm tree vlogging today. You know you need this in your life. Don't even try and deny it. It could be better in the spring. It's probably better in the spring. I see the error of my ways now. But now I'm heaven vlogging. What do you think about that?
Illustrations by Pete.
So, after the last video doing the marker on that Stonehenge oil paper, I realized it was a lot tougher than I thought. There's not too many other tests that I can do to it to see what it can handle. So I'm gonna probably go ahead and do the watercolor on this video, and then in another video sometime down the road, I might do a colored pencil piece. I may do, if you do pan pastel work, if that's you may want to try this paper. It has that fuzzy texture that some of those pan pastel papers have. You might want to try it. I don't own any, so I can't try it, but I would give that a shot. So in this video, I'm going to do the watercolor on it. I'm going to soak this paper like it has never been meant to be soaked. Just dump the water on it. See if it can handle it, see if it breaks up, see if I can layer, and then I'm going to use ink after I do the watercolor so that you can see if it'll scratch into it after it's been damaged, or will it be damaged? Who knows? Say, wanted to be in the video. Everybody wants to be in the video. So first things first, I just want to let you know that Veronica has sent in some art. I'm going to put that at the end of this video. Take a look at that. What she did was take some, I guess, some inspiration from me, although I have to say what she's doing with it is far beyond where I was going with it. So I like the direction she's moving with it, and I want to see some more from her, what she's going to do with this. But it's blending some of the automatic drawing with some of the abstract doodling at the same time and kind of mixing those two together. It looks really cool. I enjoy it. I like looking at them. She sent me a bunch of stuff, so I'm going to have a montage at the end there and let you look at that and let you know where to find her on Instagram. So stick around for that, if nothing else. So something else I want to address before I get into this. Becky called me out. It's okay. I understand. I had this bright light in my face in a couple of videos ago, and she's like, hey, you got a bright light in your face while you're recording. And that's because I was doing the night thing. Here's the thing with me and cameras. I hit them, I set them up, I turn them on, I hit record, and then I run away from them like a monkey that just set off a car alarm. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just do whatever I do, and this is what happens. So I'm trying to learn some more, have some patience with me, but I will get this. And I started to mess around with it. I realized there's settings in the camera. Did you know that? There's settings in the camera. This is a good camera, apparently. The Panasonic G9, it has a lot of things. It's movie-centric, supposedly. I think it's supposed to be a photography camera, but it's movie-centric, they say. Anyway, I'm going to play with it and see if I can figure some things out and maybe not have that bright light in my face. I had the light that you usually see in the background, that blue light, I set that to white and had that on top of the camera, and even at 10%, it's blinding. I can't even see when I'm looking at the camera. I don't even know where I'm looking. I just look in the general direction of where my hand is. So a little bit at a time, I'm figuring this stuff out. One day on accident, I'll probably get it right, and it'll be a happy day for everybody. So my plan for this video was to use as many products as I could. I dumped a bunch of stuff in the beginning on that paper, and I was going to use any kind of water-based paint that I could, but I ended up only using two. I have the background, which was done in Inktense, and then the painting was done with watercolor. Now, you immediately see the fibers, they start to, it looks like they start to peel up. But really what's happening is you wet them and the water just moves them around. They clump together. It's not really peeling. There's like this weird fibrous stuff sticking up. I guess it's like a fuzz that grabs the paint normally. And when I did the oil paint, it worked great. And I know I said this before, but I think the pan pastel, this would be amazing for that. But, so that's what happened. And maybe some of those fibers came loose, maybe some of them came off, but really the paper was not damaged. It was not damaged at all. There was no pilling. It may be some of those loose fibers just came loose a little bit. I saw a couple of times there was a couple little spots on the paper, but I was trying to get rid of them and I couldn't. I think it's just because that fiber was moving around. I don't think it actually came off. But anyway, the thing that struck me is because of that, the paint gives off an impression that it's like a colored charcoal piece because of how the texture comes out. It's not bad. If you want the look of colored charcoal without all the mess, this might work. This may be the key for that. But at the same time, you get a quality within each color section, and you'll see that you can never get with charcoal. It's very unique looking, and it may use the paper again for this look, or maybe to use like a base layer for charcoal or something. But it gets this really soft, kind of gritty look. It's strange, but it's unique. It's not designed for this. Keep that in mind. What I'm doing, no one should ever do. There should be a warning label on the thing. Don't do this. But I do it anyway because I enjoy it. I like it. And that's what I'm working on. And especially up, you can see up in the corners, those little dots everywhere. But it doesn't matter. I could watercolor right over it. It takes it just fine. Nothing goes wrong with this. Everything that happens is good. I enjoyed this. I really like how it came out. I actually like the piece. The finished product I think came out great. I put the pen on. Nothing peeled off. Nothing dug into the paper. It worked fine. Everything was wonderful. I enjoyed this paper a lot. And I haven't seen it available everywhere yet. I know they, on Amazon, I think they had the little tiny pad, but I want you to be able to look at the paper. So I did put that link again, wet paint, down below. It's not a paid link. I just want you to be able to get the paper in your hand and take a look at it and play around with it a little bit. It's a fun paper, especially if you're actually using it for what it's supposed to be used for, which is oils and acrylics. For that stuff, there's no problem. I did not try the acrylic yet, I have to admit that. But the oil, the water-soluble oil, I know everybody's yelling it's not real oil. It is. But it worked great for that. I enjoyed it for that too. But for this is different. Okay, so I'm not going to get too philosophical today, but I do want to talk about this. This is not a popular opinion, and it doesn't really apply to watercolor. Well, you can, not necessarily, but let's say you're using acrylic or oil paint, okay? If you have 20 minutes to kill to mix the perfect shade of color, then you go for, you know, your basic palette. Everyone says, oh, you could just pick 3 colors and white and just use them. Okay, well, if you've ever seen those YouTube videos of people saying they can mix any color with just a few basic primaries, and then they mix color as they do it as promised. Everything goes the way they said. And I guess you only need a few colors to mix. I get it. But when mixing acrylic or oils, I urge you, please get as many convenient colors as possible, because I've spent the time mixing colors from just a couple basic colors. And honestly, one of two things happens. Either you end up with a large pool of color for a small passage that you now have to throw that color away because it's going to dry before you use it again. On that same note, paint costs money, and wasting it is bad for my health. So I don't do that. Or you're going to try and stretch that paint because you didn't mix enough and you realize you didn't mix enough. And then you have to try and mix it again, but it's going to be a little bit off from the last batch. Either that or you're going to have so much more that you're going to mix too much again. So I'm not saying it's bad to mix paint. I do it on every painting, but maybe find like a secondary color that's close to what you need and just slightly tone it one way or the other. That's the best advice I think I could give with that example. I think it's a win-win in my book. And don't listen to those reptilian monkey-loving elitists who try to make you feel bad for saving time. You're still a real artist if you take advantage of shortcuts. It doesn't decrease the value of your creativity. So if you know you're going to paint a landscape and you have a basic green that you use, and then you tone it a little bit more blue, a little bit more yellow, however you want to do that. Dull it down a little bit, add a little bit of red in there or something. Tone it, whatever you do with it, but get that convenience color, but especially if it's something you know you love, because you're gonna spend all this time mixing colors. And yes, if you want to learn the color, then mix colors. I get that. But like I was going back to that, watch them when they do it. They sit there and they have this little sheet of paper and they mix the color. And they have these huge globs of paint all over that they're going to then throw away. They mix a little bit here, a little bit there. They put it on the paper. They hold it up next to the thing. Yeah, I think it's almost there. And then they mix it again and they, oh yeah, it's almost there, but I went too far this way. And then they mix it again. It takes them like 20 minutes to get that color. They eventually get it, but they have to throw away half that tube of paint because they just, look what they did. It made a mess. So I urge you, if you are a little bit more frugal like I like to be, then just get something close that you can tone a certain color. Now why doesn't that really apply for watercolors? Because you can mix that color, leave it on your palette, leave it somewhere, and come back to it later and re-wet it and use that color again. So that's not a big deal for that. But a lot of times in the travel sets, you'll find that you mix too little, and you have to add more water to it, or it starts to dry up and you have to add more water, which dilutes it when you go to put it back on. So it doesn't, but it's at least a little bit easier to deal with in watercolor. But when you have acrylics or oils are expensive, you're using so much on a painting. And so just take it easy, take your time, relax, get some convenience colors. You're still an artist, you're still a professional, or maybe you're not. And that's okay too. But just take it easy a little bit. Relax. Take it easy on yourself. Don't criticize yourself so much. And just say, look, I'm going to do this the easy way. That's what I like to do. The easy way. So here we are. This is Veronica's art. It's at VeroTheHero_art. And that is on Instagram. So go over there. It's right there in the middle of the page. You can see it. This is my favorite one. I love looking at this one. There's so much detail and so many different things there. That's my favorite one if I had to pick one. But these are all interesting. There's recognizable shapes mixed in with unrecognizable shapes, and I like that one too. Mushrooms are one of my favorite things, and with the brain, there you go. So there's just so much of her stuff that is just so interesting. I like to look at it. I like watching it, and I could just stare at them. If you can stare at something for a long time and not get tired of it, you just stare at it. You're like, well, that's great. You're just looking at that. That's what I like to do with art, and that's how I measure how good art is. And that's just a personal thing. Everybody has their idea of what they do. I really appreciate Veronica. Thank you so much for sending this in. And please go check her out. And she's got an Instagram page, just started posting some more stuff. And I will be following it because I want to see where she goes with this. So thank you so much again. Well, that's about it for me. I'm going to go, and I'll see you in the next one.